How did the Roman military become the awesome, warmongering, barbarian, butt-kicking war machine we know it as? Who taught Julius, Winnie Witty Weaky, Caesar everything he knows? Why is the sky blue? To answer the first two, Marius. The answer to the last one, basically some sunrays or something bouncing off the ozone layer or something like that, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Today, we're here to talk about Marius, the guy who literally changed the course of history, and the majority of the planet has no clue who he is. But Eleanor, why should I care about some dead Roman dude? Because all the years BM, the Roman army was a squad of mall cups compared to other armies of the ancient world. The Romans had this rule that only landowning citizens could serve in the army. They also had to pay for their own equipment, got little to no training, they weren't paid, and were hastily assembled when war was threatened. Really, the only way they could conquer anything is if the opposing military died of laughter when the Romans stumbled into battle. So how did the Romans go from this to a military machine that left a culture of European imperialism on the world? Like I said, Marius. So let's just cut to the chase and talk about him already. Gaius Marius was born near the town of Arpinum in 157 BCE. He first served the army in Hispania. In 134 BCE, he caught the attention of Scipio Africanus while serving in Numantia. In 120 BCE, Marius became a plebeian tribute and won the support of Metellus Numidicus. After passing a law that prevented the rich from interfering with elections, something we really ought to practice here, super PACs, he became governor of Hispania. He also ended up marrying Julia Caesar, who was the aunt of Julius Caesar. So basically, this guy is Julius Caesar's uncle and taught Caesar everything he knew about being an awesome general. In 109 BCE, Metellus brought Marius along as his legatus in his campaign against Jugurtha. During this campaign, he won the favor of Metellus' troops by eating with them and sharing their workload. This obviously made Metellus a bit mad. When they got back to Rome in 108 BCE, Marius got a great idea to run for consul. Metellus said, "No, dude, you need to wait a bit and run for office with my son." And Marius was all like, "Your son can't run for consulship for another 20 years. No way in Tartarus am I waiting that long." So he spent a lot of money on his campaign, ran for office, made an amazing PowerPoint to show everyone his ideas for reforms, and lost. But still determined to become consul, he ran again the next year, and won. Probably because the people realized this guy wasn't gonna stop. But they all ended up loving him and making him consul 6 more times. Okay, story time. When Marius was a teenager, he supposedly found an eagle's nest with 7 chicks in it. No, not those chicks, the other ones. The average number of eagle eggs a nest is about 3, so finding 7 was way up near pretty freaking impossible. This was later taken as an omen of his 7 terms as consul. So how exactly did he change the army? Well, while consul for 5 consecutive years, he made the changes in the army called the Marian reforms. Number 1, the plebes, or poor people, could now join the army, but they were excluded in the first place because they didn't have enough money to buy their equipment. Marius solved this problem by arranging the state to pay for the equipment instead. He also arranged for soldiers to get paid to fight, essentially creating the job professional soldier, in which you had to serve the army for 16, later 20 years. The plebes, who had no other way to gain status, flocked to join the military, thus creating a large pool of soldiers to send to battle. Number 2. Standardized equipment and training used by soldiers now meant that everyone could work together as a team. Marius also made training year-round and during the times of peace so that soldiers would never get rusty. And now legionnaires had to carry all their armor, weapons, food, tools, and toiletries with them on the road. That's about 66 pounds or 33 kilograms for those of you who use the metric system. This eliminated the need for easily attacked baggage trains and gained them the nickname Marius Mules. Number 3. The legion was organized, creating a rank system, an idea that is still used in modern times. Now, instead of recruiting officers from aristocratic families with a lot of money and power, but little to no military experience, they promoted soldiers who knew what they were doing. Number 4. Retirement benefits in the form of land were now offered to soldiers who had served their time in the military. Number 5. Foreigners who fought for the Roman military could now become Roman citizens after a period of service. Number 6. To keep soldiers from deserting the army, Marius created a punishment called decimation. For those of you who don't know how to use a dictionary, decimation doesn't actually mean to completely and utterly obliterate. It actually means to kill a tenth. What happens is 1 in every 10 soldiers in an unruly legion got randomly chosen to be beaten to death by the other 90%. Sorry, did I say reform? I meant completely barbaric. Marius and his reforms forever changed history as we know it. Without his reforms, the Roman army would never become the feared military machine it is. Rome would never become the empire it was, and a culture of imperialism would never have come to be in Europe. So that means Europe wouldn't have a Romanized culture. European colonies across the world wouldn't exist, and the idea of imperialism would fade away. Except for the Mongols. Sorry, couldn't help myself. Thank you for watching, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hope you had fun, and have a wonderful weekend. Bye!